Oh, come on, I know that's not for me. But I'll take it. All right. Time Lords and ladies of Raleigh, Wizard World Comic Con, I have one question for you. Is there a doctor in the house? Not really impressed by that. It's good. But it wasn't great. But I think I know how to get to great. Hold on. Maybe... Oh, okay. Here we go. So if you got one of these, I want you to raise it up high. I want to get a good sonic screwdriver salute from you fine nerds of Raleigh. And I will ask one more time, Wizard World Raleigh Comic Con, is there a doctor in the house? Well, yes there is. Yes there is, and we're about to bring him out. Of course you know this gentleman from Broadchurch. Of course you know this gentleman from Hamlet. Of course you know this gentleman from Harry Potter. Of course you know him from Marvel's upcoming a.k.a. Jessica Jones. But I think you know and love him the most. Raleigh, give me both of your hearts on this. Put your love together and give a nice Raleigh Comic Con welcome to Mr. David Tennant!
Oh, there I am. Hi, North Carolina. How are you today?
I don't know if I did it right, if that intro was right with the Sonic. I don't really have a great Sonic technique, so... Oh, you're gonna show me up, right?
Well, it all depends, the setting all depends on how far up and down it is, you see.
Yeah.
And there are many thousands and thousands of settings. You have to be very, very particular, because it can do quite a lot of things. But there are some... Hello. I made that happen, look. It was just off.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'll learn. I'll go to, I don't know, Sonic Screwdriver Technical School.
You have to get it just right, and just, it's all about the pitch.
All about the pitch. All right. See, I hope you learn. We are learning something here today.
Doesn't work on wood.
Wrong.
No!
Unless the writers need it to, and then it does.
Before I throw this out to the questions, I'm gonna start with one, and I think it's appropriate for your first fan event. Welcome to North America for the 2015 happens to mark the 10th anniversary of Doctor Who's return, so especially appropriate that we have number 10 on stage. Well, they pay me the big bucks, my friend.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit just about the return of Doctor Who 10 years ago, and I mean, do you look at all this and think it was a bigger impact, it's bigger than even before, and why do you think it's bigger now?
Why is it bigger now? Russell T Davies, probably. I think he wanted to bring Doctor Who back. It was his idea, it was his passion, and I think he reinvented it and made it something that connected with people. And Doctor Who has always connected with people. I grew up a massive fan, so it was. And growing up, I think particularly in Britain in the 70s and 80s, it was something that everyone was aware of. It was part of the kind of cultural furniture, if you like. But the fact that we're here and that it extends around the world now, and that there's nowhere I can go in the world now, really. At all. And I think that's got something to do with the way that Russell just tweaked it, and he didn't change much, and it's the same show that it always was, but he gave it, I don't know, what did he give it? An emotional accessibility, he gave it a heart or two. The show had always had, but he managed to find a way that connects with an audience in the 21st century, and I think it's Russell's fault that we're all here.
All your applause. All right, let's go to a question at the line, and this is a really important one to start off with, because I actually think we have a doctor that's going to ask a question. A little doctor. Hi there, what's your question?
When you're when you're at your house watching Doctor Who, how does it feel like when you see yourself?
It's a bit weird. It takes a bit of getting used to, and it's usually not very comfortable. I don't really enjoy watching myself back in things, but you got to get used to it, and you do it because it helps you get better, hopefully as well. So it's funny because I grew up as a fan of Doctor Who, and I used to be the show that I waited for every Saturday night with bated breath. It was very exciting. To then be in it is weird. In some ways, it changes how you are. You can never sort of be a fan in the same way again, because of course, if you're looking at your own ugly mug, it's quite hard.
No.
Entirely enjoy it, and also I knew what was coming because I'd read the script. It changes. I experienced it in a different way from when I was a kid, but it's still something. And now, of course, I can watch it and not know what's coming next. So now I get to be a fan again, which is great.
Yeah, thank you. I think on his next regeneration, the doctor should come back as you.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, non-Doctor Who question.
Okay.
I am completely enamored with the How to Train Your Dragon series of audiobooks that you So you've developed so many wonderfully distinct voices. How do you do that, and would you demonstrate?
I don't want to make the poor man perform on stage.
It feels to me like there may be a chunk of the crowd who doesn't know what you're talking about. How to Train Your Dragon, which are very successful movies, forget about that. The books that inspire them are actually, they're quite different story-wise, and I've been doing the audiobooks of them for the last, 12 years now. And we're nearly done. I think there's one book to go. I've recorded the penultimate one, there's one last one to go. And they come out, they're audiobooks, and you can get them now. I think they're now actually released in the States officially. And yes, I've been doing them for quite a long time, which goes to your question of how do you come up with the voices. It's getting really hard. It's 12 years and 11 books in. She keeps introducing another tribe. And I made this I made this decision early on that I would use a different regional British accent for the different tribes, so that the hooligan tribe are Scottish, because I can do that. And then there's the, I can't remember what they all are off the top of my head now, but there's the Northern Irish tribe, and there's the West Country tribe, and there's the Ray Winston sounding tribe. And the trouble is, I'm all done now with regions of Britain. So if in the final book there's a new tribe of Vikings, they might have to be American. So, yeah, send me some sound files so I've got some amazing.
You don't have any.
So, but how I don't think you just sort of, you literally kind of go, who can I do? Which voices can I do? So there are various voices in those books that are based on certain people. Some people you may know, some people who are maybe friends of mine. And I feel it would be unfair to say who they all are. But, well, for instance, Fish Legs is based on, you know that scene in Train Spotting when Ewan Bremner is high, he's having a job interview, and he starts talking and everything starts going quicker and quicker. That's Fish Legs. So they're all sort of different people, but you'll have to figure the rest out yourself.
this over.
I've been answering questions on a series of audio CDs.
It's gonna get tricky. I just hope for the next tribe, it's like all from Jersey. Like, hi there. Or Minnesota would make more sense. Hi.
Hi, David.
Hi. How you doing?
I want everyone to know that David Tennant just Joey Tribbion.
Yes. He did.
Okay. So, my question is, they were obviously emotionally devastating for us, but which do you think was harder for your doctor? Saying goodbye to Rose or saying goodbye to Donna?
This is the tricky part about the cons, by the way. I should have warned him ahead of time. You are going to be put in uncomfortable positions and asked to comment on former co-stars and like, who do you like more, this or this, and who was harder to say goodbye to?
Well, the hardest one to say goodbye to has to be Wilfred Mott. It was his fault, frankly. Because it's very hard to look at Bernard Cribbins and not feel moved, frankly. Oh, I don't know. It's an impossible question. They were very different, weren't they? Because one of them was well, they were both love stories, but they were very different types of love stories, weren't they? When one was a best mate, one was a girlfriend, really. I know you don't say it, but she sort of was.
Yeah.
So that's a very different, and I think what was tragic about the Donna one was that he had to remove all that joy from her, take all that, all those wonderful experiences, I think that was the tragedy of that goodbye. The tragedy of the goodbye from Rose, of course, was that they could never see each other again until they did. And how galling to watch someone who looks like you, who basically is you, get to do all the shagging you didn't get to do. I apologize for my language.
It's okay, it doesn't count as swearing.
I think we should move on.
I think the answer to go with is like, because now I'm telling you what answer to go with. I mean, it seemed like you had the hardest time saying goodbye to yourself, actually, and that was sort of unique within the show, Like, you didn't want to go.
No, I didn't want to go. On many levels, yeah. It was very... Yeah, no, it was such a... and again, we come back to Russell T Davies, because he created this extraordinary emotional journey that my character got to go on. That there was all this tragedy. And he started off as such a sort of bouncy puppy. 4.5 years later, he was put through several ringers. It was... But that's... when you play a character who ultimately has to be in the same position at the end of the story as he was in the beginning, to find all those different emotional tunes to get to play as an actor through that character was such an extraordinary privilege, really. And that's what Russell did, and that's what the show continues to do.
All right, thank you.
First of all, thank you so much for coming here. It's
Oh, you
My question is, was there anything at the end of your run as the Doctor that you were allowed to keep, and is there anything that you wish you could have kept?
What do I admit to?
The statute of limitations is passed. So you can't be taken in for anything.
Well, I got presented with a little box by Phil Shellard, our head of props. He gave me it was a little case, and within it there was a stethoscope and a psychic paper and a little torch, which we actually very rarely use, but that was also one of the characters' sort of props, and a sonic screwdriver, and they were all given to me as a presentation box, which was a very lovely thing. And I've got a copy of the costume, certainly hanging somewhere, top secret location. I don't know that I took anything else. Did I take anything else off the set? Certainly nothing I'm going to admit to. But you know, we all need a pension. So, no, I think I just took what I was allowed to take. I think. Remember it.
You'd be off on like a police interrogation.
I don't think I killed anyone.
How did that blood get on my
Let
person?
me give you some DNA, just so. Sounds good.
So nothing he admits to, but nice little sense. You could always go back to the set now and then take something.
Oh, I do that now every time I pass. Blame it on Capaldi. It's very like finger.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Who's your favorite Doctor Who villain?
My favourite villain? That's tricky. I find it hard to have favourites of any of them, really. It feels wrong to have a favourite. It's like choosing between your children. It feels, you know, that would be inappropriate. Who's my favourite villain? I suppose, if we're talking villains rather than monsters, which I'm going to choose to do, then I suppose I had a great time with John Sim as the master. He was the master, and also because he was John Sim, and he still is, in fact, I believe. So, you know, again, they were, just because they were great, sort of juicy stuff to get your teeth into, and when you're playing opposite someone as brilliant as John, and when he's playing with such kind of bonkers energy, and you get to play those wonderful scenes that are, you know, they're about the story and they're about the jeopardy, and they're also about character, and that's the stuff that's always so kind of that's the stuff that's so rewarding to do, I guess. And I like John, and he's a fantastic actor, so I'll see him.
The young lady actually ran away after you started.
Did she?
Apparently it was not a satisfactory answer.
I'm sorry. Who did you prefer? The Adam.
Yeah.
Right here.
Hi, Glenn Finney, good to see you again. My girlfriend Allison and I really have appreciated the return of Broadchurch, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes.
And thank goodness you've done something with that beard. It was scary. And the hair on the flashback, I don't know what's going on there. I'm scared for you. But that's not my question. I will mention also that I'm very jealous you got to spend time with Liz Slade, and good on you for that.
Yeah.
But my question is this: watching you in Casanova, which was great, but when I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's things there that I see then in your Doctor, in the 10th Doctor. So my question to you is, how did you come up with sort of the characterizations and mannerisms you used in Casanova? And do you think some of that carried over? And if so, what was delivered and what just kind of leaked through?
I think what carried over, well, obviously, again, we say Russell T Davies, and he wrote both of them, as I'm sure you're aware. So, and indeed, the 10th Doctor, the very fact that there was going to be a 10th Doctor, came around in quick succession to the filming of Casanova. So, I think Russell, and indeed, that was in some ways my audition for the role, although I didn't know it at the time. So I think anything that I was doing in Casanova was probably influencing the way that Russell then went on to write that character, I guess. I think in some ways there was a lot of the Doctor in Casanova to begin with, because I think, you know, that sense of adventure, that sense of sort of wonder, that sort of puppy dog enthusiasm, I think, was something that Russell very specifically carried on from one into the other, and you know, they both look a bit like me. They're both sort of filtered through my lanky frame, so I guess they're going to be similar in some ways, but also I guess that voice, the joy of language which both the characters enjoy, the energy that they both enjoy, I think that was carried over firstly by Russell, but also quite happily by me. I think he wrote the characters in a very similar way, so that's fun to play, and it makes sense for both those characters. That sort of that front-footedness, that wide-eyedness, that innocence, actually, in a way, which is not necessarily what you might expect of Casanova. But again, I think that's the brilliance of what Russell did with that character. So I'll blame Russell for that too.
Somewhere Russell was just thinking of all this man letter. Your fault, your fault.
What time is it? What time is it over there? We should call him up.
Give him a call, yeah.
Hello. My question is, of the companions that came on after your term, which one would you like to work with?
Do you know, I think I've worked with them all. I worked with Karen while I was still in Doctor Who. I worked with Arthur in Broadchurch. And I worked with Jenna on the 50th anniversary. That's them all, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, at the risk of being able to avoid answering a very awkward question, I love them all in very particular ways. I believe the official answer is splendid chaps, all of them, isn't it? So I'm going to stick with that. Thank you.
And you worked with Capaldi, so
yes.
You're just knocking them all out of the park.
Exactly. Yeah. You can only be in Doctor Who if you were in it when I was there.
New rule.
Yeah, that's the new rule.
Yeah, everybody's going to go back and watch old episodes.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think that's the next Doctor.
So we can cast the 13th Doctor now from someone who's already
in this room.
Yeah.
Raleigh, you have the power.
Yeah.
Don't go crazy.
Hi.
Hello, welcome, by the way.
Thanks.
My question is, I enjoyed Broadchurch and Doctor Who both very much. I recently got into Broadchurch, and I noticed similarities between the Doctor and Alucardi. They both have, an emotional background, and they both try to stay doing what kind of gives them pain in a way. So my question for you is, when you were filming both of them, what was the difference in how you portrayed the characters?
Well, I don't think you sort of are aware of what of striving for any differences or similarities between the characters, really. All you try and do is, the script comes in and you try and interpret it as best you can, filter it through the person and the actor that you are. So, within that, you're not going to go, oh, that's a bit like that character I played in that, or this is different from anything I've done before. You just try and make that person or alias or whatever it might be, or dragon, you just try and make it as believable and as real and as complicated and as honest as you can, really. So it is for others to, I suppose, judge what's similar and what's different between what you do. I mean, there's part of me, that's a bit of an old lovey that likes the idea of sort of transforming yourself from one thing to another, whether that's by growing a beard or cutting your hair or wearing blue contact lenses or whatever. Those are little moments of being someone other than yourself is something that you strive for, but at the same time you're also trying to tie everything into kind of an emotional sense that you can identify with as well. So it's a bit of an amalgam of all that, I suppose, which is my long-winded way of saying I don't know.
Thank you. I think part of that also, growing beard, putting eye contact lenses in, perhaps painting yourself purple. For everything that you cannot say, what I will ask about joining Marvel's aka Jessica Jones,
Yes.
which pretty much you can't say anything, I guess.
Yes, you see my body language immediately.
Yes, no, just
All
overall.
have snipers, you see. They follow you everywhere you go as soon as you join.
Even at your home.
Yeah.
But no, just overall, I mean, talk about the excitement about joining the Marvel Universe and what about it just kind of stokes you the most?
Because it's the Marvel Universe. It's insane. Again, this is something I grew up with. It's like my 8-year-old self. He doesn't know what to do with himself. I grew up reading the Hulk, I think comic books are a glorious, wonderful art form, and I think Marvel is, one of the things that we'll be looking back on in 100 years' time, and they'll be one of the cornerstones of our cultural existence. I think So to be part of all that, and to be, and you should read these scripts, they're really good. It's just very exciting. I was in, and the other day, I was, when we started, I met Joe Quesada, who's like a Marvel guy, he's like the head. And he said, yeah, come down the offices anytime you like. I went, oh yeah, okay. Sure, well, next, tomorrow. If you want to open them up. It's just like a dream come true to get to be part of that world. And the other day, I went to the Marvel offices.
We know. We saw the pictures. We know.
I got shown round, and clever people gave me comic books and told me how they got made, and I met sort of people that spend their day doing that stuff. It was so exciting. The whole thing's just an extraordinary trip. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's worth going back in time to that 8-year-old self and saying, like, just you wait.
I know. I know. In Paisley, it's all seemed very remote and impossible, really. But you know it's fun. I mean, the Marvel are now making the movies that as an 8-year-old I thought, that's the sort of, why does nobody make those movies? You know, but I guess the world has caught up, technology has caught up, I suppose, which allows these things in part to be realised so beautiful. But as ever, it comes down to stories, and it comes down to the sort of the heart, and that's what makes the stories sing.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Hi there.
Hello. Well, I'm not going to be able to top the first guy's question, but I want to know your opinion on the nature of the relationship between Captain Jack and Ten.
That's a good question.
Baron is not here, is he?
Baron is everywhere. He can like move out.
He's probably making out with a sniper. I think, as there's children in the room, that relationship is whatever you want it to be.
And there's a lot of fan fiction. There's a lot of things that people want it to be.
I got sent a link to some stuff. Oh, there's some sick people out there.
And was it all written by Baron?
He sent the link. Well, you know, they've both been around a long time. There are centuries to fill. I don't know where I'm going with this. Embarrassing. There's children in the room.
They were really, really good friends.
They are really good friends. I think actually, they have a fantastic relationship. And what was interesting about it, because obviously John, Captain Jack, played by John, came back to the show. So he returned. This is making sense. When he came back to the show, obviously the Doctor had changed, and suddenly it was me. And yet, when John came on set, there was something about that character that just worked. It just sort of slotted in, and that could have been tricky because John had not been Torchwood, and the nature of that character changed in the interim. But there's something about the way the characters worked together that I think just was something very unusual about it, and it was great when John came on set because he's John, but also because that character just brings a new dynamic to the TARDIS, and he's steady. And I look forward to seeing him visiting again.
Yeah, we should go on to the next question.
Yeah, we will.
Hi.
How often do you see Billy, or is your friendship with her still as strong as it was during Doctor Who?
I've never liked her. As little as possible. No, as often as I can, which isn't often enough, frankly. Billy's one of those brilliant people that I hope I will know for the rest of my life. And she was, when I started on Doctor Who, it was quite, it's a bit of a baptism of fire, because I wasn't particularly recognised in the street or so on before I did Doctor Who. There was a kind of 0 to 60 life change that happened very quickly, and that can be quite disorientating and quite vertiginous when suddenly you find yourself going into a supermarket and people are interested in what's in your basket in a way that they weren't before. And to have Billy sort of with me on that first part of that journey is something that I'll be forever grateful for, because she's just so, she's lived that kind of a life since she was a teenager, and she handles it with such elegance and such grace, and she is someone that I am very proud to know, and someone that I'll be forever very grateful to for that very thing.
Hello, little sir. I like your scarf.
Hi. Okay, I just wanted to know what your favorite doctor was kind of growing up, since you like the show.
I like the fifth doctor.
I hope so. Probably more. Good question.
He has very good genes. That's all I'm saying about it.
Otherwise, holidays get very awkward. Thank you.
Hey, I just want to say, first of all, I saw you in Escape Artist. I know probably. That was excellent. My question is, what was your favorite episode that you did?
Oh, I don't know. People always want to know this. I never know. What was my favorite one? It's very hard to say, because they were all so good, you know, and they were all so different. That's one of the great things about doing a show like Doctor Who, is you remember the experience of shooting each story, because they were all so vivid. Because you know, it was a different guest cast and a different set of sets and different locations, so each one has a very distinctive. Has very distinctive memories, and I had such a wonderful time on the whole sort of 4.5 years that it feels wrong to remember or cherish certain experiences more than others. I mean, there were ones that I remember because, well, for instance, the end of season 4 was wonderful because there were so many friends there, you know, and then those final episodes I did mean so much because they were the last ones I did, but then so was the first one I did. The Doctor's daughter was memorable. So there are so many wonderful memories from all through my time that it feels wrong to rank them at all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
So, my question would be, actually first, I really liked you in Broadchurch. Yeah, I'm obsessed with the show. But my question would be, first of all, do you watch Sherlock? And if so, what's your favorite, storyline? Like, the current one? What's your favorite one so far?
Oh no.
A tough one. I imagine that you're so busy filming and doing everything.
I mean, I've seen some, I haven't seen them all. But until Benedict comes here and says he's watched every one of my Doctor Who episodes, I haven't seen them all, so I shouldn't really comment. But it's a fantastic show, and and Ben and Martin are so brilliant in it, and what Mark and Stephen have done is just such a sort of wonderful sleight of hand, you know, creating this thing that everyone feels they know, and yet it's completely new and completely wonderful. So it's I wouldn't claim to know it well enough to comment, but the last one I saw was brilliant. Thank you.
Was that the one where he solved crimes?
Yeah. One where he figured stuff out.
two episodes are Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a way that you could just talk anything about what it was like working on those two episodes?
Oh, those episodes were incredibly, were really good fun to shoot actually, because there was this little gang of us. Because when you did the two-parters, we were together for a longer time, just because there was double the amount of stuff to shoot. And that little gang with Alex Kingston, Steve Pemberton, and Tallulah Riley, and all that gang, we filmed it out of Cardiff. So we all went and stayed in a hotel together for sort of 3 weeks, and it was one of the happiest kind of social times I remember having on Doctor Who. We played a lot of cards.
Did you win?
It was very, very happy. It was a very happy one to shoot. Eros Lynn, who's one of my favourite directors of all time, always a joy to be directed by him. So it was a particularly happy one. That's my memory of that one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. Skeleton in the spacesuit here today. Are you in here?
Oh, she's in here. She's in here.
That's amazing.
That was one epic suit. Well done.
And terrifying.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And we have the TARDIS herself actually here to ask a question, so...
Hi.
Hi there.
How can you see people? I can see nothing. These lights are shining directly in my eyes.
The blue, I pick
Okay.
up on the blue.
My name is Sarah, and honestly, everybody's just taken all the amazing questions that could possibly be asked today.
Okay, Sarah, you can sit down.
I just wanted to let you know that when the show was first starting back around, I was going through cancer, and watching it gave me hope. And knowing that you could defeat anything was helping me with that too, as I was going through that for 1.5 years, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Sarah, you are so welcome. Thank you.
Give her a hug. You deserve a hug.
Stay well.
Hi. Aside from TV, movies, and audiobooks, what would you say is your proudest moment in your life?
The proudest moment in my life? You mean professionally, or probably being a dad, I would say.
No.
Something that is, well, it's a huge honour, and it's very difficult, and it's very wonderful, and it makes you endlessly proud, and yeah, that's got to be it, I think. It's not a very funny answer, but it's true. Yeah, that's it.
Hi, just wanted to say that I love you in everything I've seen you do. I've seen lots of things. I've seen Broadchurch and Doctor Who and Harry Potter and some random Netflix movies.
What are you referring to? You're describing some of my oeuvre as random. How extraordinary. I've seen Subterraneans 2, The Legend of Britain's Gold. One of my finest work.
Well, my question was, if you were in Hogwarts, what house would you be in?
Well, I was.
Yeah, he was. He
I
did
believe
get...
I was Slytherin. It's weird to me though that kids get put into 4 houses and one of them they're all nasty. The day they come to get presented, they're going to go, you look a bit dodgy, you're in Slytherin. Your eyes are too close together, you're in Slytherin. Oh, happy bouncy child, go on one of the other ones. You can choose, the other 3 are all fine, Slytherin no. It's weird, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
I was in Slytherin.
As a fellow Slytherin, I would say we're just misunderstood.
I wasn't, I was proper bad.
Yeah.
That's a food stuff.
Yes.
Sorry, that's a Harry Potter joke.
That is a Harry Potter joke.
What house are you?
I'm Hufflepuff.
Get out.
How did you know?
I have taken lots of quizzes online.
Oh, dude, sorting hat? Duh.
Oh, that's right. The hat tells you, doesn't it? I forgot about that hat. It must be a bit of a blow if you send your youngest and dearest off to school feeling very proud of themselves and it comes back there and slithering. What have we created? What's wrong with our child?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we got to the heart of that. I like it. Hi.
Hello.
Hi! On tiptoes, there you go.
If you were, do you want to be a companion in Doctor Who? And if you did want to be a companion, what companion?
Which doctor would I be a companion to?
Yeah.
We're
helping him.
Good question. Oh, I don't know, it's quite hard, isn't it? As I have been the doctor. Maybe it would be fun to be, no, I tell you, I'd like to be Patrick Trout. I'll say Patrick Trout, because there's lots of bits missing, so I get to see what they're like. And because he was a fantastic actor, I never got to meet him, and because, yeah, I'll say that. I'll say Patrick Trout. Because he had lots of guy companions as well, didn't he? So I would fit in, really. I could do a Scottish accent. As can Fraser Hines.
You and Capaldi together, just two Scotsmen that don't understand each other most of the time.
Yeah.
Or the rest of the audience.
Yeah. Why is Peter Capaldi doing that weird Scottish accent all the time? I don't know.
Well, folks, unfortunately, I'm getting the time cue. We are out of here. However, this gentleman, the fun does not end here. He's heading back to photo ops. You can go see him at his
I'm going home, that's it.
Raleigh Comic Con. You guys have been awesome, and please show your appreciation.
Holding still for all the pictures. I think he's holding still for photo ops.
Oh, everybody dressed in cosplay as David Tennant. Come up front.
Here, take it.